Welcome to Star Athletes Online. My name is Coach John McCarthy, and I'm going to take you through the recruiting process here. And I'm looking forward to spending about 10 minutes with you. But first, I want to spend a couple minutes explaining a little bit about this video itself and how this is going to help guide you through the process. First of all, this is going to talk to you about the different associations, the eligibility, but I want to let you know that what I'm primarily talking about here are the vast majority of student athletes who are interested in playing their sport at the college level. And by that I mean this: those that are at the highest level, those that are major Division I prospects in any sport, quite frankly, you really don't need a recruiting service, you really don't need a website, you really don't need a tremendous amount of help in the recruiting process. What you're going to need in those cases is tremendous guidance from family, from coaches, from your inner circle of people to help give you great guidance. But in this video, I'm going to talk to those families that have student athletes that are interested in playing at any level, probably with the exception of the major Division I level. Now, there's some great information I'm about to share with you here, and I ask that you please pay a bit of attention, but in addition to this video, that you just take the time to use the resources here at Star Athletes Online. We've got quite a few other videos, other articles, tremendous amount of links that provide great resources for you, but it's up to you to be proactive in this process, to watch, to read, to comprehend and understand about this process. I want to let you know that no two processes are identical. So while we'll talk about the typical recruiting process here, understand that your recruiting process might be different than your friends. It might be different than your cousins. It may be different than other associates of yours. So understand that we'll try to outline what's a typical recruiting process, but it may not be the exact same in every case, and it probably won't be. What can you do to make yourself a great prospect? A couple things that you want to know off the bat that are really important. One, focus on your academics. And I really mean that. You hear that all the time, but truly your grades are important. Your test scores are important. Your ability to comprehend really is important, that you grasp the importance of education. Get your grades, go to class, pay attention, do your homework. It's really important. Next, work on your skills. Hey, let's be honest, at the end of the day, coaches want players that can play. Work on your skills, not just games, not just competition. That is important, and I don't want to downplay that. But work on your skills, become a better player in whatever sport that you participate in. Become the best that you can be, and really genuinely work on your skills to become better. Next, character and integrity are crucial. Crucial. Coaches, schools don't want players that don't have great character and integrity, along with a great work ethic. So really important are those three items to make yourself recruitable and make yourself a great prospect. Be a great student, try to hone your skills, and be a person of great character and great integrity. Once you've focused on these things and you're determined to play college athletics, get going on your website here at Star Athletes Online. Load it with great factual content. Load those links to the articles about yourself and your team. And importantly, from a coach standpoint, get your video up there. Put a bunch of video yourself up there. As a coach, if I can learn about you, your grades, your contact info, your awards, read about you, etc., and I can see video of you, that's a great formula right there. So load all that information onto your website. And then from there, there's a couple different ways that you can go. We've got a great search engine right here. We've had some great people take the time to put links directly to every athletic website in the country that plays college athletics. Use that website. That's really important. You can use that search engine to help narrow down your search, while at the same time you're going through the document or watching the video from this educational component of this site, where it's labeled questions to ask yourself during this recruiting process. And that's awfully important, to go through those questions, you and your family, and answer those questions honestly. It will help narrow your search tremendously in schools that might be a good fit for you. So where do you go from here? You've got a website, you've begun to narrow schools down that may be a good fit for you, is to become, again, proactive in this process. Start sending those emails out. You can do it one of a couple ways. One, you can send a mass email out to a load of schools, and there's sample letters on this site as well. In the educational component, go to that document that's labeled sample letters. Use that as a guide. Certainly make them your own, customize them, but these are a couple good sample letters in here as you're sending those emails or those hard letters to your list. In those letters, make sure to include your website, whether it's through an email or hard mail, that will go directly to that site so the coaches can learn more about you. But you can do this a couple different ways. You can send a mass email out, blind copy those people, of course, if you're going to send it mass, or you can send it to a limited number of coaches and send them to the whole coaching staff within each school and personalize them a little more. If your list is only a dozen, 15 schools, then you can personalize those, send them to the whole staff. They have a better chance of being read at that point. Now, I hope that during this process, while you're being proactive in contacting coaches, directing them to your website so they can learn more about you, I hope at the same time these coaches are learning about you, whether it's by having seen you play, whether it's by word of mouth, whether it's by your coach, etc. Hopefully they're contacting you. While this is happening, it's important to use that list of questions as a guide. It's very easy as a student athlete to get excited when coaches start to call you and start to contact you. When that happens, do your research on each school that contacts you. Find out if they meet your criteria. Feel free to add your own questions to that list. So try to find that list, add your own questions to it, and find out those schools that are contacting you, if they meet your criteria, maybe a good fit for you. So hopefully both things are happening at the same time. You're contacting schools, and schools are beginning to contact you. Now, what is being recruited? What constitutes the real recruiting process? I'd say this. If you're getting a form letter in the mail, and even if you get 2 or 3 of them from the same school, I don't think you're being recruited. At the same time, if you're getting invitations to different schools' camps, I still don't think you're being recruited. Those are ways for coaches and schools to make money by you coming to their camp. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying you're not being recruited in that case. They're sending out mass mailings to try to entice people to come to their camp. Now, when coaches begin to show up at your games to watch you play, when they write personal, handwritten letters, when they call you, when they invite you on campus for a campus visit, when they ask you for a home visit, now I believe you're being recruited in that case. It's important to know the difference, whether you're really being recruited or not at that point. Now, understand this. There's a difference between being accepted to a school and being academically eligible. Let's talk about academic eligibility. In the different associations, the NCAA, within each level, 1, 2, and 3, there's different academic eligibility standards. The NAIA has their own set of standards, and so do other associations. So it's important to understand each association's eligibility standards. I encourage you to get the guide for the college-bound student athlete. I encourage you from each association, NCAA, NAIA, junior college, etc. I encourage you to go to each website from the national associations to find out what you need to do to become eligible, or contact the eligibility centers, the NCAA or the NAIA. They'll help give you a guide in terms of eligibility. Now, who determines eligibility? If you're playing NCAA Division I or II, initial eligibility is determined by the NCAA Clearinghouse. Contact them. If you're playing NCAA Division III, each individual school will determine academic eligibility. If you're playing in the NAIA has an eligibility center. Contact the eligibility center through the NAIA. And through the other associations, the USCAA or the NCCAA, they are often dual affiliated. And what do I mean by that? I mean they're often associated with the NCAA Division III or the NAIA. And the NAIA or NCAA Division III eligibility standards would take precedence in those cases if they're only associated with the USCAA or the NCCAA. Then you go to those specific schools or that specific association to determine academic eligibility. Now, admissions to a school is determined on a school-by-school basis. And please understand not to confuse the two, admissions and initial eligibility. For example, you may be academically eligible by NCAA Division I standards. However, that does not mean you automatically are getting into Stanford, Yale, Harvard, etc., just because you're academically eligible to play intercollegiate athletics there. So please understand the difference. Now, regardless of the circumstance, understand you're going to have to fill out a bunch of forms and be requested a lot of information. whether it is applying to a school. To get into a school, you need to apply to a school. Many schools that are really genuinely recruiting you will waive the admissions fee. However, that's a school-by-school decision, and that's not guaranteed. Either way, you're going to have to fill out paperwork, whether it's admissions, whether it's eligibility through the eligibility centers, whether it is through financial aid. Be prepared to fill out an awful lot of paperwork going through this for admissions, for financial aid, and for initial eligibility. During this process, I encourage you to take the time to read and watch information on this site, to get the guide for the college-bound student athletes, and continue to research financial aid options and different school options. Understand that this is a lot of information to digest. So read and reread and watch and rewatch the different components on this site. There's a lot of great information out here. Last, if you have any questions specifically for myself or Star Athletes Online, please feel free to send those questions right to us, and we'll answer them personally back to you. Again, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being with us here on Star Athletes Online. My name is Coach John McCarthy. Thanks for being with us.